it's filling up while we let everybody in. So everybody who's already on and can hear us, we need some few seconds in addition to let everybody join. Let's see. So still some people in the waiting room. Okay, we just cracked the number of 400 participants. That's nice. And still people getting in.
Good morning, everyone.
Hello, Michael. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Hi, Ageliki. Everything
Hello.
perfect and fine. And that will be,
Thank
by the way, one of the, maybe I can share already some ideas also on how to run the meeting today while still people are joining, but we may repeat it at an extra time. I will also soon start the recording so we can later on, especially for folks who are in regions of the world. And we also, of course, like every time we want to look into this, where you are coming from. You can share where you are coming from where you are joining. And we record the meeting as well. Despite so only the Q&As we will not record. So we will do this at a later stage. Yep. So give us a second. But while saying this, I may already start now and start the recording. So everybody, I think also from now on who joins will give a consent to understand and acknowledge, yes, we do this. And I think I do the recording in the cloud. So now we hear the disclaimer, I think. And please stay patient with us. So still people joining so that we give everybody the chance to get in on time. So let's see whether we crack the 500 live participants. I guess so, because we are now at 466. Still a double-digit number in the lobby, getting fewer and fewer. So let's see whether when we reach the stage that there's nobody left alone in the lobby. So still people in. Let them in. Okay, I see a thumbs up and people in the lobby. So, okay, and we of course will continue this, that we let people in. Yeah. Okay. Very good on time. So I think both of us, right, Luca, you and myself, we can all let the people in so that we have people. Okay, still people. The number in the lobby is increasing again. So let's give ourselves a second. Okay. Again. Okay. But as we started the recording, and it's now 4 minutes past, so I think with the first opening sentences, nobody will miss too much things. So while people are still joining, let's get started. So first of all, big warm welcome to all of you. So welcome to our Business Processes Open Lecture, season 24-25. So just for your information, so we do it now in the third round. So that is the third time. And of course, we hope this time is the best time. Yeah, you may have seen in the invitation that we also learned from the last time where maybe it was a bit too much effort. So we shrunk the overall content without, of course, sacrificing anything on the quality, we hope. So today, as you see, it's the global kickoff session. So today is mainly to make yourself and you all familiar what to expect, how the format runs, how it works. Maybe give you also some surprises on what you have to do. So you will, between all our lectures, you will have to do some homework and have to do some learning. We show you how this runs and what you will have to learn. And of course, we want to meet each other every week, ideally with the full house like we have it today. So in the call now some 500 plus people and still some colleagues here in the lobby. So of course, we let everybody in. And of course, I mentioned already the sessions will all be recorded. Whether you want to do this for a later stage and listen in again when you missed something, or when you can't make every meeting, or you live in a time zone that is so far away, of course, we give you the chance to listen to the recording and be part of our open lecture. Good. So as we now have only small numbers still entering the lobby, I guess we can proceed. And so, and if you have some things to mention, we will give you also lots of opportunities to mention things into the chat. So this will hopefully be very, very interactive today. So there are lots of opportunities where you can put some things into the chat. And of course, we will ask you to do so. So just one thumb up. Can you see our screen? Because the green seat, okay, because the green mark was kind of, or the green frame was briefly gone. So Luca, you can see it, right?
Yes.
That's good. Okay, so maybe as a first information for you that you briefly learn, who are the folks who are guiding you now through this nearly half a year. As you may have seen on the landing page, this open lecture starts today. So 17th, mid of October, 17th of October, 2024. So somehow standard beginning time of a winter semester here in Germany, maybe different in lots of other countries around the world. And we run until late March. So nearly half a year that we will spend together. And at first we want to introduce to you, so who are the folks you will meet on a weekly basis? So hand raised, as I'm anyways talking, I start on myself. So my name is Michael. I'm Michael Nürnberg from SAP. I'm working in the team called SAP University Alliances. And our main mandate in SAP University Alliances is that we connect with lecturers and students around the globe, and mainly that we ensure and help that lecturers around the globe can utilize SAP technology in the classroom, so that you don't only ideally learn, for example, how to run a business, but on top also do this utilizing SAP technology, so you get already some hands-on experience how this really works. So, but more about us or about me later, so as you will very often hear from us. Your main coach and lecturer will be Thomas. Thomas, over to you to introduce yourself.
So thanks, Michael. Hi, everyone. Welcome in this call, also from my side. So I will be your lecturer, indeed. I spent all my career in SAP, so that's now 26 years. I've worked for SOE people. You see the logo in the bottom of the slide, the first logo. That's a partner of SAP, so we implement SAP. That's what I've been doing for 26 years. And yeah, generally I'm active in the SAP field. At my company, I'm responsible for innovation, but I'm regular speaker at events, at SAP events, wrote books, you know, a lot of things in this area. So happy to see so many of you here today.
Thank you, Thomas. And somehow the animation is already made it on its own to show already Christoph. So our academic partner from University of Mannheim, Christoph, please.
Thank you very much, Michael. Also a very warm welcome from my side. I'm not directly affiliated with SAP. I'm a professor at one of the more relevant, I would say, business schools in Germany. But I played a role in the initial ideas of using the content that we are now presenting in this fantastic size to all of you, because we were working on a small project for our gap year that we're running in the University of Mannheim. And I hope lots of the gap year students are also here in the room. And I will also teach one little element, because the most important subject in my field of business is procurement. I'm a professor of procurement, and I will lecture the procurement supply management class somewhere in December.
Thank you, Christoph. And I think everybody's looking forward to that. And let's see how fast the animation works, that I can show not only your face live, Luca, but also see you here on the it's slow on the screen, but you may already get started, Luca, please.
So my name is Luca. I'm working student at SAP, and I work with Michael on this project. And I've been working for SAP now for 1.5 years, starting with an internship and then as a working student. And I'm really happy to see so many people here in this Zoom call today. I'm looking forward to the business processes open lecture this year. And I am the guy who answers all your questions when you send it to the SAP Next Gen inbox. So now you have face to all your emails.
Perfect. Thank you, Luca. You see, very important. And I think also you will see Luca in the upcoming sessions when we'll give you maybe also additional instructions how to get access to live systems and all of this. But for today, we don't want to overwhelm you. So for today, we keep it quite crisp and simple and start with saying just the first things required to get started. So what does it mean here now? The next slide is, as we introduced now ourselves, and as you heard, so there was, Waldorf, Germany, Utrecht, the Netherlands, Mannheim, Germany, and Berlin, Germany now represented. Yes, and that's your home turf, right, Christoph? Now, please, as said, we want to make it as interactive as possible. Give us some hints into the chat. So who are you and from where are you participating? So maybe saying that you are a student of business administration participating from this city and that country. Or as we already saw, there are some professors, some lecturers also in here participating. Maybe briefly write in that you are a professor on XYZ topics, as Christoph just introduced procurement. Just as one example, participating from Mannheim. Of course, you heard it from us. So please give us some hints on who you are and from where do you participate, because we are super curious. As you see here, we have now in the live participation some 530 people, if I allow the other 3 to join, or now it's even 5 again. So 500 plus people. We had even many more registrants, assuming that, of course, it may be quite difficult from some parts of the world to participate, but maybe you surprise us in saying, hey, we are participating from far remote countries, although it's already very late, or it's still very early in the day. Just put in your, as said, your role. Are you a student? What do you study? Or are you a lecturer? What do you teach? And from where do you participate? Maybe the city and the country.
We already have.
Do we have some results?
Yeah, we have people from Czech Republic. We have people from Belgium. We have people from UK, Ukraine, Greece, but also Vietnam. Many people from Germany, Mexico, Mauritius, Italy, Indonesia,
wow,
Hong Kong, Egypt. So I think we have really people from all over the world in here.
Wow, that's impressive. And especially as we learned, Far East, so that's quite late. So we make it ideally as entertaining for you that you stick with us. And for today, we also thought before we just jump into all the details and lots of things you will learn, we want to kind of give you the big picture first. So just to give you some facts and figures, so plus employees, actually fast growing over the past years. So when I joined, we were somewhat, I think 12,000. So can say that was already long ago, but we steadily grew since then. We couldn't have done this growth without all our great partners. And as Thomas introduced, he's representing one of those great partners who do all these great implementation projects. So there are 24,000 plus partner companies globally, and one very special one, as you learned, SOA people, with Thomas here on the call with us today. You see, and I think if you are in finance or not, if you know about these numbers or not, I think that's quite impressive. Our 31 plus billion revenue that we did in the past year. We also, you may have heard that we are now doing the big cloud transition. So besides, and by the way, I don't know why on these facts and figures, and you have also all the link in here in the corporate fact sheet, that even we say we have 200 280 million plus subscribers in the cloud user base, so people who utilize the SAP cloud products. I think it's also worth to mention that we have round about 400,000 customers worldwide. Larger ones, smaller ones. I think Thomas will also share some light into this with us. Worth to mention as well that although we are a German company or Germany-based company, it's not only Walldorf where all the beautiful applications are developed, but we have around about 100 plus development locations worldwide. So not only locations where then sales is done, so subsidiaries are working, but really development is done. Larger ones, especially besides Germany, in the United States, in Palo Alto, in Shanghai, in China, and in Bangalore, India. And of course, last but for sure not least, that we are here also the #1 software company in the Dow Jones Sustainability Index for now almost or 16 years in a row. So sustainability is for us not just a hype topic or something that is on the list recently because it is a kind of fashion word. No, we do this really and are in this now for quite some time.
Michael, just in the spirit of interactivity.
Yes, please.
It was in the news today that SAP became the most valuable technology company in Europe.
It's a good comment. Thank you so much. That's really indeed. That's good. Thank you, Thomas. And please always interrupt and add if great topics like this. And so now I wonder why I can't move on to the next slide. So here we go. As said, I always compare a bit the large SAP and us, the small SAP University Alliances team. This slide is mainly so you have it also when we share it later on. So you will get all the slides as a PDF document afterwards, either in a download or in an attachment. Let's see what is the most convenient. This is for me just to share with you. We said we have these 400,000, roughly 400,000 customers around the world. And maybe that's why, Thomas, as you said, we now became the most valuable tech company in Europe. But we, as the small SAP University Alliances team, as said, we partner with educational institutions around the globe. So this is for you just to get a brief information where do all these universities and secondary and vocational schools reside. And just for if you are interested, you can follow these links. You see, it's a public list of member institutions, and you can check if you're not sure, oh, is my institution member or not? So you can click on this link for all the UA members. So as said, once you have this document in your hands, you can look into this. And now, besides the topic we just shared on the numbers and these the news from today Thomas shared, what do you know already about SAP? So you see here our big blue nice logo, but is there anything you know about us as a company already today? So if so, again, please share with us into the chat. Luca, as you are again our chat observant, any highlights you want to share?
You are using a lot of AI. You may have major market share in ERP systems. Great company, busy with innovation, transform of businesses, lots of innovation. Software that is processing data on one platform. Important tools for logistics. So many different views on SAP.
Interesting. And nice that even the first ones already mentioned SAP and AI. So Thomas will also share some insights on this later. And of course, maybe in the business processes, as this lecture is all about, or in, as we heard, logistics and other topics. Yes, and this question is especially important for us and relevant for us. And maybe we can see a bit of this later. As you may know, we are not we are a business-to-business company. So we sell our software, our products to other companies, so they are even more successful and not to individuals. So, but that brings us exactly to the next topic, and I will play a video, and ideally we can all listen and hear the sound. If you have issues with the sound, in parallel, Luca will post this YouTube video link also into the chat. But please only activate the link if you have issues, trouble hearing us. So when we tested it, it worked all okay. So let's have a look. And as we said, does any person have some touch points with SAP in an just say ordinary day? And we now look into an ordinary day by Lewis Hamilton. If we could say Lewis Hamilton has an ordinary day. So let's see what will happen here. Good.
You want to follow a day in my life?
Yeah, but maybe a little loud.
Sure. Let's go. Alarm goes off. Race day. Morning. Take coffee. Espresso, of course. A couple of stretches to loosen up. Quick shower, and we'll get yours.
I think now we
There's no
can
words, I think.
Just in time to talk to Bono.
Hey Bono, hey Lewis, new race strategies in your inbox.
Check inbox. Message Toto. Time to head to the track. But first, music. Always. Take the corridor. Take the elevator. Drive to the track. Focused. Put on my race suit. Arrive at the garage. Say hi to my team. It's almost time. Fuel. Check. Oh. Balance. Check. Ready to race. So that's a day in my life. Not sure where you saw any SAP and all that.
Okay, switching back. So, as Lewis Hamilton said, not sure whether you saw any SAP in his ordinary day. Maybe you saw some. I know it was very fast. You have the link in the chat, also again here on the slides when we share it later on. And you just say here his car with the Mercedes and AMG Petronas. I think there were quite some brands you may know. And as there were only very few, we have even some more collected on the next slide. Here, just take a second to identify whether you know any of those brands. These are all SAP customers. Of course, I mentioned to you the number of 400,000. Actually, this is just a subset of a list. You see there's a link on the top saying customer stories. So some customers, SAP customers who created together with us an SAP customer story. So where they tell how they utilize SAP technology to run more successful, run more sustainable, optimize this or that process can be found here. And I did just a kind of small collections to share here with you. So maybe just to pick out some. So maybe some of you have a Scott bike or are fans of the NHL, or you pick, here you see Cirque du Soleil on the lower left corner, even so entertainment, or on the upper right, Coldplay. So you may know the band. So together with Coldplay, colleagues of us developed an app so they can track the sustainability or the carbon footprint that they create by all their fans flying into their concerts. Maybe there's, and you see also here Penn State or others, University of Maastricht, that also educational institutions are not only SAP University Alliance's members, so not only utilize SAP for teaching, but also utilize SAP as a productive customer to run their own business, whether it's in the HR area, whether it's student life cycle management that they can utilize. Okay, just as said, just a small subset, but you already see a broad variety from the business those customers all do. And as we shared now a little bit on who is SAP, what do we do, and who are our customers. And before we now move on and talk a bit about now the mechanics and the administration and how really this open lecture is intended to run, please briefly share with us into the chat. Why do you participate? So what is your motivation to take part in this open lecture, and also maybe some expectations you have so we can check whether we can meet them?
Just waiting for the information to flow in. We have one, understand the world of business, learn more about SAP applications for companies. As for HANA, learn about business, managing business, understand the software used by most businesses, better teaching curriculum for university students as well.
Mm-hmm.
As a software developer, someone wants to learn more about SAP. We want to integrate SAP platforms into teaching. Better work, better job.
Đọc sách đi.
Employment opportunities. Learn about the product. Practical experience as well.
This looks like a good match. I think with learning about who is SAP, what does SAP does, how the software itself runs, and that this in the end also helps for better employment opportunities. I think this is something where we can come together, hopefully. So no, not hopefully, I'm quite convinced. So the idea is goals and values. So why do we think and are so convinced that it's a great idea to participate in this business processes open lecture, both as a student to learn and become employed, as well as a lecturer to maybe embed this into your teaching. So here it's about learning how companies run. And you saw there are a lot of companies running SAP. Expand your global network. So we will also see how you can, there's one idea we have, that you, the students, may also build some learning teams, get together, and of course also via the chats, if you want to exchange, that you also get to know us, that you expand your global network by participating in this one. Of course, big time increasing your job readiness / employability, because we learned, and maybe I leave this subject matter up to you, Thomas, also later on to say whether this is really wanted by companies, whether SAP customers, SAP partners, to come with some SAP knowledge. And last but not least, so ideally, you're always looking forward to this weekly hour, our webinar, that you all say, hey, this is really fun. I enjoy being together in this community. So you all, but including ourselves, of course, that we also have some big fun, because learning is much easier if you have some fun. Of course, and that's why that was the question on the motivation. Yes, motivation is really required, because I wouldn't say this is really just a walk in the park and just to come along every week, listen to some nice things that Michael, Thomas, Luca, and Christoph will tell. It's also about some time commitment from your side. So we learned already, we start today. So we are now 17th of October, 2024. And this runs down until end of March 2025, so nearly half a year. We will have 2 weeks of saying year-end pause. So the last week of December and the first week of January are taken off. You see this in the schedule. And over this time, we estimate that all of us, so everybody needs to invest roughly 60 hours over this period of 22 weeks, so roughly 3 hours per week. How does it come together? So we will have 22 virtual sessions, so 22 webinars like today. Every Thursday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Central European time. Maybe sometimes we are a bit quicker, then everybody gets some time back, but this is the time we schedule also to ensure whether there are questions open, anything that we can cover those. And in those virtual sessions, there we will see what we call the lectures. And in a few seconds, Thomas will enlighten you what these lectures are all about and also learn. And we think this is really very, very cool to deepen the knowledge and really remember the things we have learned here, to learn also how SAP partners and customers really utilize SAP software, whatever we've learned in the corresponding time. In between all of these sessions we are running, and that's, you see, oh, that's even more, 38 hours compared to these 22 hours. So on top, we ask you in the time in between to do self-paced learning. So we will introduce you to a so-called learning journey and additional material and say, okay, when we meet again, so like today, when we meet again next week, Thursday, there's a certain scope we will ask you to learn to cover so that you will always come prepared. Today's the only exception. You will always come prepared for the next lecture. We give you some doable homework to say, please learn this piece in the time until we meet again. So there's some effort on your side to learn the respective chapters we talk to you, and we will very clearly tell you don't do too much at once, but this and this is what you can do until the next time. So this is to prepare also for the upcoming session. And this is in brackets because it's more or less a recommendation from our side. So if you have learning mates or you know already other participants from your university, or you are a lecturer doing this together with your students, so also meet in between as a learning team to discuss. And if you have questions, that's the best thing, of course, bring them to the upcoming lecture. But you may, of course, also want to discuss amongst yourself before, because we think that's a great learning progress. So as we call the whole thing, the business processes open lecture, but now you say, oh, but we are not really lecturing. So you have to learn on your own in the self-paced learning. And then the lectures themselves are more a kind of deep dive on this. I think
Ngủ
that's
Quân ơi.
the slide where I hand over to you, Thomas, to explain now the nature of the lectures and what the key scope will be.
So indeed, each week there will be some self-learning, and then after that, you join the virtual session where I will start with a recap of the material. I won't be able to explain everything, but the most important concepts. And then I will most of the time will also bring a customer case so that you see how it's actually really used in real life. I try to bring customers from different countries, from different industries to make it more colorful. And then you will be able to ask your questions. I'm sure based on your self-study and even after my recap, you will have some questions. And then finally, we will also have some time to talk about more administrative questions about access to the system, certification, how you need to prepare, any questions you have about more the logistics of the course itself. You see the link, that's the main learning material. For the few, I see few people who were here already last year. This is a new course material, fresh. We are talking about S/4HANA Cloud. What it means, you will find out next week. So yeah, it's all new modern material. And what will we cover? Now, we will cover the core business operations. I saw many people have the expectations to roll the business and business processes. So, of course, that's exactly what we will do. Finance, management, accounting, human experience management. Now, you see, these are really the main things each company or most of the companies do. And we will go through all of that. And then, Michael, if you please click, then you see, remember that we will talk about these processes, but also the context of SAP. And this is really the most powerful combination, I think, which exists in the world, because you will learn not only the theory but also how to do this in an SAP system. And you saw all these numbers, no? I mean, SAP system is by far the most used ERP system in the world. So yeah, it's good to learn this combination. So not just the process, but also how it is actually executed in SAP. And in terms of prerequisites, because I know you come from different countries, different year, different type of studies. So do you need business administration background? No, you don't need to have it. It's not required. Of course, some basic understanding of business is useful, no? Because we will not explain everything from the beginning. We will not explain what is a company and what is an employee. And, so we expect that you have basic understanding. If not, feel free to ask. And then the second question is, okay, how much technical knowledge do you need? Do you really need a computer science degree? And not at all, because here we will focus on the business process level, more on the functional. I know some of you, I noticed some of you have a technical interest. It's okay, you can ask your questions. We can always go more technical, but you will see the learning material itself is more focused on business processes. Then we have another video. Maybe Michael, just one thing, like in the lower left corner of your YouTube screen, I think you could increase the volume.
Was it loud enough?
Okay. Before we jump, but while you do that, just an explanation before we start the video. I mean, somebody already entered very correctly that SAP is very busy with AI. That's couldn't be more true. SAP calls it business AI because the whole purpose is to embed artificial intelligence into the business processes. So all of these, what we just talked about, like finance, controlling, HR, sales, everything. This is absolutely number one strategic goal of SAP, to be the best enterprise software with AI embedded. We will talk about it next week already. And in each chapter, when we go to whichever process, I will always mention what AI can do in that given process. And then, yeah, let's look at this video. It's pretty fast, so you need to pay attention a lot.
And let's hope for it. So I maximized the volume and, of course, did also full screen mode. Let's see whether you can hear it now better.
Where did the bass go? I got my dance floor out the door. I on the dance floor, I on the door. DJ, don't be a sweet. Gotta get it my way. Stay another from the team. My favorite song. I hear the bass goes on where the bass goes on where the bass goes
Not the next one. To this one. Was it louder this time?
I think you can manually make it louder on your desktop. because there should be like a thing on your keyboard to make it louder.
Only both. I think made it maximum there and there. Okay, but if
Okay.
not loud enough, and I think Thomas will also, we have the link for revisiting it also then in the material. And I think now Thomas also know to refer to the what we've just seen.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, what you saw, if you were really quick, you saw the word Joule, which is the co-pilot or the AI assistant in SAP, where you can like ChatGPT kind of, you can ask questions, and it can even guide you how to do certain things in SAP. It's pretty much future. No, it's just getting released as we speak, in the coming weeks. But
Đi ngủ thôi, chị
but
đã
yeah,
nói bao
it
nhiêu lần
will
rồi em mới đi
change
ngủ
everything.
đây.
And then I mean, this course lasts half a year, so during this half a year, a lot of things will happen in AI. So each
Mai ra
time
học
we'll
tiếp.
keep an eye on it and cover all what is new. And well, what we also offer in this course is the opportunity to practice in a real life system, which is very interesting. It's really an opportunity. It's not a must, to be clear. No, it's not mandatory for the certification. The certification is focusing more on the understanding the concepts and how the different business processes are executed. But I think it's very nice to look at a system and click around to really see, the best ERP in the world, basically.
Thank you, Thomas. So then I take over again. And as Thomas said, that's an opportunity. Like lots of the things we do here are opportunities and maybe not must have. So as said, we also, of course, offer to you that in the end and throughout the next week, we will talk more about it. If you want to become certified, we can offer you an SAP sponsored certification. So thinking that may even big time increase your employability and customers or partners being interested in hiring you. But I said that's also not a must. What is very important, we talked about this in the motivation, that you do this self-paced learning. So as Thomas presented, there's this one distinguished or very special, very modern, very fresh, so we really like it, learning journey, which is a learning asset, more or less, offered by SAP on a certain portal, so you can easily access it. And we will slice it down into chunks which are, from our perspective, digestible from week to week to week. So you don't have to do the whole learning journey at once. We will show you which portion we ask you to prepare for the next time. And in this week, so from today until next week, so it's up to you when you do it. So some people can learn better in the morning, some can learn better during the night. I don't know whether it's still the standard student habit like it was in my time. So I always learned very close to the deadline. So that's also something that works, but may not be recommended. So take your time to distribute it throughout the week, but do it at your own pace. And as said, we
Đừng có
also
ấy
will
chị
soon
nè.
distribute the recording if you want to listen in today again. So that may also help
Mở
you.
đèn vàng
And the
nha.
recordings, as said, and maybe some of you even don't know what this symbol means. So this is a cassette. So don't know whether some of you ever used it. So we learned to listen to music on this old-fashioned entity. So if you can't attend live, or you say, I do it every other week, so it's also optional. Of course, we love you to join. As said, we think it's much more entertaining to be live with us. And of course, here you can also ask some questions directly. But as said, if you have other commitments, if you live in a place where it's really very early, very late, up to you. So we will provide the recordings to all of you. And we also don't track whether you participate here live or not. So don't worry. You can always, whether you participate or not, you are eligible to finally get also SAP sponsored certification in the end. Of course, we think like in school, like in university, being in the lectures is always the best thing to do to get a deep understanding and also get your questions answered. And I think it's also from a time perspective, the most efficient way to do it. Most probably, so if you have friends, student fellows, lecturer fellows who still think, oh, maybe I participate. So it's of course still doable to join now or even join during the next week. But I think we want to do it like last year. So we let the registration, we keep it
Hẹn
open for
3
another
cái
2
là
weeks
tối
from
đa nha.
now. So roughly around, and then we even say, okay, we take the weekend, so nobody is, so it really fits. So 2nd of November, we think that could be a good closure for the registration. Everybody who wants to join then, we will put on a pre-registration list for the next year, because this is something, as said, we do it for the 3rd year now, and we want to do it for 4th, 5th, and 6th time. So, but of course, you are now in this one, and hopefully you can complete this successfully. And last but not least, as already said, we recommend you to also build learning teams to discuss with each other what you've learned, and if you have any questions or issues. Of course, this is also where the lecture is all about, to come up with your questions and ask, but maybe some things can already be clarified if you do some peer consulting and talk to each other. So in the first run, we want to leave this up to you when you know, oh, there are fellows from my university who registered as well to do so. If not, throughout the next weeks, we will also bring up some additional information. So, for example, as Thomas said, then we want to introduce to you where is this live system and what can you do on this live system. But we don't want to overwhelm you today, so this comes at a later stage. Also, we have a forum where we can all meet and discuss, and this could also be a way to get access to a learning group. Yeah, so you may want to utilize that, but we come to this in the next weeks. As said, not everything at once. Don't be afraid by this picture. This is just an illustration how your main working aid will look like. So this is an Excel spreadsheet, or this is the screenshot of an Excel spreadsheet, of course, embedded into this PowerPoint. And we will distribute this Excel spreadsheet to all of you. Let's see whether we do it as an email attachment or as a download or even both, to ensure you all have it in your hands. Yeah. So, and the idea is that you mainly utilize this spreadsheet so you have a kind of idea what happens when and what has to be learned by when. So you see, this line item, that's where we are today. So today is the 17th of October, 2024. Yes, we are all in the kickoff meeting of the Business Processes Open Lecture. Yes, we reserved the full hour. We think we can be done. Oh no, we can't be done in 45 minutes. We already invest 48. So, but still good on time. And here is the Zoom link to attend today's session. And you see here is the color code, this red, light red. So this means we are now in one of these online meetings, in these live webinars. And then we will meet again. You see here, on the 24th of October, there's the next line item in this light red. So again, but this time it will be lecture number 1. Thomas explained to you what is a lecture all about. He will briefly repeat what you have learned by then. And what we ask you to learn by then is all the things you see between today, the kickoff meeting, and lecture number 1. So this means there are 3 line items in green, and this is what we call academic wrappers. What does this mean? This is some content which is not really so much on SAP S/4HANA or so much on business processes and how they are organized in SAP systems. It's a bit more agnostic, more like in a good lecture or in academia, that you first get introduced to a topic. So here we ask you, for preparation for the first lecture, to look into those 3 academic wrapper elements. So an introduction video on YouTube again, some learning journey intro, boost your career with SAP. That shall also answer the question, how much beneficial is it to learn all of this to become employed? And also here, general process. So a bit in very, very principle, what is a process? What is a business process? And after you've done these 3 green line items, then you enter this, you see here, the learning journey called Discovering End-to-End Business Processes for the Intelligent Enterprise. So that's the learning journey where Thomas showed you the brief screenshot, the one we think quite modern and nicely presented learning journey. And this learning journey is also organized in many, many chapters. And for the first week, we ask you just to do the first chapter, which is departed in 5 subchapters, so that you learn these 5 subchapters until we are together again in lecture number 1. We also recommend, when you look at this structure, you will get, as said, this Excel spreadsheet for your own purposes, so you can make your own instance of this spreadsheet and enter. You see it a little bit here on the upper right corner. You can enter comments. So when you have questions on any of these chapters, you may want to use this. Again, this is an offer, this is an option. You don't have to do it that way. We don't control it, but you may want to note your questions in saying, whoa, here, number 1.3, mapping SAP solutions to the business processes of the bike company. Obviously, we talk about a bike company. If you have any questions there, why not just noting the questions down? And then next time, next week, when we meet, you can have those questions at hand. Of course, next week again, there's 1 hour, so we may not cover all questions, but maybe the most burning ones or the most fundamental ones. As said, this is your working aid throughout the entire lecture. And it's always the same mechanic. So usually each chapter is introduced by some what we call academic wrapper, a bit SAP agnostic to introduce the theme, the topic, and then having some chapters or sub-chapters of the learning journey to learn. And then we meet again, and in the lecture, Tamas does the brief recap of what did you learn until now or for today. Are there any questions? And in some cases, as also outlined, bring a customer story, for example, saying, and customer XYZ is using exactly what you've just learned, is using it in this way to make it helpful. So here are some recommendations from our side, because you may want to also ask your professor, your lecturer, saying, okay, can I get some academic credits for my participation? So this is why we recommend that you utilize the Business Processes Open Lecture Checklist, so the document you've just seen, which you will receive as an attachment and or download, so you can make your own version out of it. And you can maybe also put in what did you learn when. You can insert screenshots. So we call this a journal that you may create. You can insert screenshots, for example, in this learning journey. Once in a while, there are some quizzes. And when you've passed a quiz, then you get the information, okay, you've passed your quiz and you get a green check mark. Yeah, so this is something you may want to note down, make the screenshot and collect it. So that's then the proof that you can demonstrate to your professor that you've really not only participated or not only registered, but really participated and or really did the learnings. And of course, ideally, you reach out to your lecturer up front saying, oh, can I also gain some academic credits for participating here? Yeah, so that's, for example, something that we are also discussing in conjunction, as you learned from Christoph from the University of Mannheim, that his students from the University of Mannheim gain some credits there. But very important, you see here our disclaimer on the very bottom here. Of course, we acknowledge that the academic credit assignment and exam grading is in the sole responsibility and authority of the education institutions and lecturers. So we would like to give some recommendations here, but of course, we fully acknowledge that this is in the sole discretion and responsibility of the universities and the lecturers. Yeah, okay. And that would be before we come to the Q&As, and then I also stop the recording, the very last slide. So what is, from today onwards, what is on your task list? So until next week, please, number 1, if not done yet, please maintain your calendar according to the schedule. Here's again the link to the website where you see the schedule. So every Thursday, 5 o'clock Central European time, from now until end of March, without the only break we do is the last week of December and the first week of January. So you shall all have received, together with the approval, say with the welcome email, you shall have received this schedule / the iCal file, so you can incorporate it and have the access to the Zoom link. Then, as we will share this business process open lecture checklist, the Excel with you, so the template will be sent along or the link to it. So we also have a what we call digital library where all documents and all recordings will be stored. So you can also find it when you need it so that you get this and as said, receive it and ideally personalize it because we think that's the most important working aid for you. And then, of course, from today until next week, maybe you start, if you're super enthusiastic, even today, so start learning. And as you saw in the checklist, it is this introduction video and a bit of this academic wrapper. And then from the learning journey, the chapters 1.1 until or up to 1.5. Please do so by October 24th. So before we meet again, if you have questions, write them down. Optionally, if you know folks who do the very same here with you, reach out, build a learning team. It makes more fun, or maybe you can even attend then the webinars here together and exchange already on what you've learned or what questions may come up to you. And before we meet, there may, of course, be some issues. So if you have technical issues on the learning journey, so it's not reachable something, then we have SAP technical support. On that, you need to scroll down on this website linked here on the very bottom, and there you can reach out for technical support. If you have authorization issues, or you say, oh, of course, if you did not register and didn't receive the mailing by us, you would not be in this call right now, and maybe you don't receive the recording link, etc. But if there are any authorization issues, so for example, you received the mailing from us, but said, oh, I didn't receive the Zoom link or this or that. So then you can reach out to our SAP University Alliances support inbox. Here's the email address. And if there are questions on the content, so is there something in this self-study phase where you say, oh, this doesn't tell me anything, I don't understand this, note it down, put it as a question in your business processes open lecture checklist and bring it to the upcoming lecture. So then you can put it in the chat and we can, especially Thomas, can walk through it and then answer your questions. And by having said that, I will now stop the recording and because we said Aufzeichnung stoppen. I will stop the recording so we can start asking questions or putting questions, of course, into the chat. We said this is where we want to stop the recording anytime. And maybe also in upcoming sessions, we can Aufzeichnung stoppen. We can even then open the mics and let people ask questions live. But as said, we never want to put this as a part of the recording, also assuming people can easier ask questions when they know there's no recording around. Okay, having said that, are there any questions? Please put them into the chat. And Luca, master of chat, are there already some questions?
There are already some questions, and we have also a Q&A system, so you can ask the questions in the Q&A chat, so it's easier for us to keep track. And there's already a question in asking how to get the schedule, and I think that's easy to answer. You will get an email containing a link, and there you will get to a platform where all our documents are stored. So you don't have to worry, you don't have to do anything. We'll do that.
Yeah. And the schedule itself, again, you all will receive as Luca said, either the link or also this document and this Excel checklist attached. And in here, you saw there's also the link to the schedule. But on top of having the link to the schedule, I think it's also super easy. And that's also the learning we did now for last year and this year. We have a weekly meeting every week, Thursdays. And I think also the Zoom link is stable. It's always the same Zoom link to participate, 5 o'clock Central European time. The only weeks where we do a small break will be the last week of December. So I think 19th of December is the last time we meet this year, and the 9th of January, the first one to meet next year. And else, every Thursday to be in this webinar.
There's another question.
Yeah.
Is it too late for this course I'd like to recommend to other friends.
There's still some time. So we have two limits. So one, we said today is mainly only the mechanics and introducing how it runs. So we keep the registration list for 2 weeks open. So we want to close it by the 2nd of November. So this gives 2 weeks time. Yes, so please promote it to your friends. So the only limit we also have is if we would have too many people being at the same time in the Zoom call. But I think today we had peak time, I think round about 550, a bit more than 550. So that's doable. I think our Zoom instance can easily digest 1,000 people, 1,000 concurrent users. Yeah, so yes, it's still open roughly for 2 weeks. Please forward the information. Ideally, then, as you received it, the link to the registration page.
Another question is any of this material copyrighted, or can I share it with my students?
Please share it. So you may even, ideally, you even join together with your students. And yes, of course, there are some things like when we have the screenshots of SAP systems, there's always an SAP copyright underneath it. But as you, for example, saw, the YouTube link we shared with you, the 2 ones, are really things that we, SAP, broadcast. So you can simply take those links and share them. So absolutely free to do so.
Yeah, and there's another question. How do you recommend studying the journey? Just listening or summarizing?
Listening or summarizing. So I recommend please just practice it. And there you see that the first thing is really walking through, and it's not that much listening. I would say it's a bit more reading and clicking. As I said, it's quite interactive. There's a bike company that is introduced to you, and there's a person who is now the new CIO of this bike company and gets the task to make some digital transformation. So I don't tell too much already. And I think you need to listen to this and read through this. And then, as you said, summarizing, I think the quiz after each chapter, there's a quiz. And I think this quiz is always a very good summary of the chapter you've just learned. If you want to, and that's maybe more a question or to the lecturers here on the call, it's of course up to you when you say you want your students
Recording
to give a
stopped.
summary of each of the chapters, then to prove to you that they've really done this and learned this, and that you may utilize then as the basis for the grading if you want to give some grades. Yeah?
Yeah.
No, go ahead. I just see we are a bit beyond the full hour. So time flies when you enjoy yourself. But as said, if there are burning questions, please let's cover them.
Yeah,
If
maybe
anybody who has another appointment now, feel free to drop off. We don't want to force you to stay here as it's already a bit beyond the time. But of course, I'm happy to answer some more questions.
Someone asked, would you please explain the difference between integrated business processes in SAP S/4HANA, TS410, and end-to-end business processes for the intelligent enterprise? And if he or she already has the SAP TS410, does he need to get the certification or E2E?
Yeah, very good one. So in brief, so more or less, it's better to say both goes into the same direction. So also the TS410 is the introduction into business processes. And if you received already a certification on that one, that is, I would say, from the certification level, kind of comparable with the certification you can or you are preparing for utilizing this learning journey we are in. The TS410 may even be a bit more heavy because it's a bit more material. Last year, we did even a combination. So last year, everybody who participated used both learning journeys. So the integrated business planning that we use now and the TS410, but that was a bit heavy load. So this time we use on the more, I would say, modern one, because this also comes now, and that's new, comes now to prepare for a certification. That is new this year. The TS410 also, by the way, will retire. So the TS410 will retire soon. I think even mid of next year. Something was said end of this year, mid of next year. Of course, your certification still remains. Yes, also certification periods and durations, how long certifications are valid, will change. So you have to do in the future an annual Delta training and Delta exam, better to say, not a full-blown certification. But of course, if you are a graduate and have done the TS410 certification, that will still have some value to show. However, I recommend, even if you have the TS410, the learning journey done and the certification done and passed, I recommend participating here because I think we will learn some new flavors. It's a very fresh learning journey, so I think it's even more fun to learn this one than the TS410. And as said, the live sessions, especially when Thomas comes with cool customer stories, I think that's a superb value add, and that really deepens the knowledge and the experience. I hope this answered the question. I'm not good in doing short answers on questions.
Right, so I think we have a few more, but it's already 6 minutes past 6.
Okay.
So, yeah, but for everyone who is still wondering how you get the lecture, learning material, and the recordings, you will receive an email where everything is explained. So don't worry, because this is the most used question, I guess.
Perfect. So then, again, thank you all for participating. Of course, a special thanks also to the hosting team here. And stay tuned. Hope to see you all again next week. Learn what you have to learn, please, so that then you get the most out of it. And hoping we have a nice journey here together throughout the next 6 months or 5.5 months. Yeah, take care.